is there something wrong with my baby? I remember having that thought as a new parent, and it really doesn't feel good. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Sarah Mitchell. I'm a chiropractor by training, but really found my passion empowering parents to teach their little ones to sleep and parent confidently day and night as a sleep consultant. I'm the creator of the Helping Babies Sleep Method. And great sleep isn't just about the sleep. It's about your parenting skills. It's also about feeding and your GI system and all kinds of other things. So when we get into, is there something wrong with my baby today? Let's cover many of those aspects. So what could be wrong? If you're asking this question, there could be a few different things that you're experiencing to have you pose this question. It could be that you find that your baby is crying a lot. It could be that your child takes forever to fall asleep and that they wake up frequently. It could be that they have very short naps as well. And the root issue of all these things, well, it depends. It depends on your child's age, for one thing, and where you are in your sleep teaching journey. Because here's the thing. If your child, like the regular kiddo, average kiddo with no GI issues, gastrointestinal, no reflux, nothing, if you're struggling with sleep after 4 months of age, they're waking up every 3 hours, you have to nurse or rock or bounce them back to sleep, that's usually because they're reliant on something external to help them fall asleep. Sleep really is a learned habit. We don't think about it this way, but think about yourself. If I said to you tonight, you can't sleep in your favorite position and I'm going to take away your pillow, ooh, that would be uncomfortable for you. You're going to toss and turn, but eventually you figure out a new way to fall asleep because sleep is a learned habit. For many of us, and this is what I did in that newborn stage, I just wanted to attend to my child and love him and just be there for him as much as possible, but I inadvertently taught him that the boo was a soother. And so even in that 4 months stage, he was waking up every couple of hours to eat because he associated that with falling asleep. In addition, he was totally overtired because I wasn't really in tune with awake times or how long he should comfortably stay awake for. And so he was overtired. And when you're overtired, it's harder to fall asleep and then stay asleep. You can check out the link below. I did a video on what overtiredness can look like. So now, if your child's really fussy, it's taking you a long time to get them to fall asleep, the best case scenario really is that they're overtired. And the first thing that you can do is download our sleep summary by age to know when they need to be going back asleep for naps and for bedtime. Okay, that's the first thing that can really help. In my Helping Newborn Sleep class, I had a second-time mom come through and take the class, and her comments at the end were, well, I think maybe my first, I thought she had colic, but now I think maybe she was just overtired because I kept her up too long. So best case scenario for you is that this is the first time you've ever heard someone talk about awake windows. That's the time that your child by age can comfortably stay awake for. And working on timing of sleep alone could help you make your put downs easier and have them stay asleep a little bit longer. Because sleep begets sleep. The more well rested your baby is, the easier it is to get them to fall asleep and then stay asleep. Keeping them awake too long to try and meet an ideal schedule or have this set bedtime can usually backfire and leave you with an overtired kiddo who's then harder to fall asleep. So hopefully that is the first reason why you're worried that there's something wrong with your baby. Okay. If it's not that though, then we get into other issues. So common causes of discomfort, which can cause a lot of crying, are reflux, food sensitivity, and eczema. Let's dive into those a little bit more. What is reflux? Well, reflux, basically it's adult heartburn, if you think about it that way. The acid in your stomach is coming up and burning through the esophagus, your food tube. That sphincter that separates the stomach from the food tube is very weak and you can get backsplash. This tends to get better around 4 and 6 months of age. In the newborn stage, some of the signs for reflux. So severe reflux, it exists on a continuum, okay? Depending on how bad that acid is splashing up. So severe reflux, these kids are super uncomfortable. They're having trouble feeding because it's aggravating the reflux and they're getting so much splashback that they really arch at the bottle or the breast. They do not want to feed. They may have failure to thrive. They don't gain weight well. They look really, really uncomfortable. That's one far end. On the other end of the spectrum, you can have half-piece spitters. So they're kids with reflux, but it comes up, it goes out, it doesn't seem to bother them at all, right? Is reflux a problem? It's only a problem if your child's not gaining weight or you feel it's impacting their quality of life because they're not able to sleep enough. What reflux can look like in very subtly is silent reflux. This is what my daughter had. Silent reflux is the idea that the acid comes up and burns, but then they swallow it and it burns again and you never actually see it coming out. Okay, so it's a very subtle set of things that you're looking for silent reflux. You're looking for clearing the throat frequently because the acid has accumulated at the back of the throat. They're trying to clear it out. You're looking for smacking, swallowing. They're trying to get it back down, okay? Often in the newborn stage, these kids do not like being on their back. So you may be able to rock them, bounce them to sleep, and you put them down and they wake up 10, 20 minutes later because the acid is activated on that supine position on their back, and they do not like that. They will always sleep better in arms. So when I'm working with a newborn client to help them establish healthy sleep habits, when I hear they refuse to be put down, that's a red flag for me. They're generally uncomfortable and they're seeking the comfort of being on people. This applies to the second kind of reason we see, which is food sensitivity. So this can have happened to formula-fed kids or breastfed kids where there's something that they're eating that doesn't really agree with their little immature GI system and they don't like it. It makes them uncomfortable. And again, those kids tend to want to sleep on their stomachs on people. It's a very soothing, comforting position to be. And a food sensitivity, if you're breastfeeding, you might start with taking out dairy. That seems to be one of the common ones. There's other things that might, it's very individual that could bother your child. And if it's formula, that's an even harder job, right? Comparing formula to seeing if there's something in there that might be aggravating it. So food sensitivities can be something that can cause your child to fight sleep, not sleep very long, and generally be fussy during the daytime. The third one is actually eczema, which is actually related to food sensitivity. The Eastern medicine people would say, or the naturopaths would say, the skin is an expression of the gut. And so often kids with eczema actually have an underlying food sensitivity. I worked with a family who actually found me here on YouTube a few months back where we did sleep teaching at 9 months and we were having success with him falling asleep, but then he kept waking up in the night. And I said, this is not, what we normally see. There's got to be something else. Talk to me about eczema. And they're like, oh yeah, he has it. And when they opened him up at night, it had flared really up. So we pause our sleep teaching. They work on figuring out a formula that sits better with their little person. And then we pick it up again. So eczema. So is there something wrong with your baby? So the first thing you want to work on is, am I keeping them awake too long? Because that's the simplest thing that you can do. Then the second thing is you're watching for signs of silent reflux. So that clearing of the throat, that refusing to be put down on their back. You might even see a little bit of squirminess generally. They can't really sit still. They seem very uncomfortable. And the third one is food sensitivity, which can be harder to determine, right? But something to consider, and that might go along with eczema. Now, if you're looking for more sleep help with your newborn or your baby, we have all of that inside of our Helping Babies Sleep School, where we can give you step-by-step instructions and help guide you with different levels of support depending on what you're looking for and the ability to ask me questions about what your little one is doing. You can check out Helping Babies Sleep School on the link below, but also I'm here on YouTube. Don't forget to hit subscribe to never miss a baby sleep tip.